Also, I gotta admit that Starletta is gorgeous.
Ugh.
But she sucks.
Yeah, she sucks.
What?
I didn't say anything.
Okay. And yeah, Megaline.com should be reporting on us because we do great work, but they don't. It's not the end of the world.
But we're treated like we're not even superheroes.
Oh my God, are you seriously taking what Bernice said to heart? She's just a baby.
Electra woman and Dyna girl.
Hey, Lenny.
How are my favorite superheroes doing?
Best day of my whole life, Lenny.
That's a bit of an exaggeration.
Look, she has a point. We don't have powers. What makes us superheroes?
Well, some of our biggest heroes were super without having powers. That was 1,000,000 years ago. Oh my God. Look, there's so much more to being a superhero than having powers, and you know that. And as you mentioned just earlier, we've done a damn good job keeping this town safe. You should be proud.
Give me all the money in the register. Put in the bag. Now! Yeah, throw some of those Slim Jims in there, too. I want to get my snap on.
Well, hello, gentlemen. We see you've met our friend Lenny. Hey. You stop recording. I'm gonna shove that phone so deep inside you, you're gonna have to do Kegels to answer it. I've never done Kegels, but I've heard things. Weird things.
Thanks, everybody. Grace, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I feel so bad. I've seen the rest of that scene and where it goes, and it's really, really funny. And when I was watching that clip just now, I was kind of like, oh, I want to see. Oh, that's okay. It still sells it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, Kegels sells a lot, you know? That's a great, very relatable, family-friendly moment, I think.
Everybody here know what Kegels are? Grace, how did you get involved with this show? It's such a cool project. I mean, it's based off of this like a 1970s sort of superhero parody, Sid and Marty Krofft, right?
Sid and Marty Krofft had a series in the 70s called Electra and Dyna Girl, and this is the reboot of it. Hannah Hart was working on a project that had very similar themes about female friendship, female superheroes, and when we partnered with Legendary to work on this, they had the pre-existing Sid and Marty Krofft property, and so we kind of merged the two together to kind of bring a more modern take on Electra and Dyna Girl, so that the fans that Electra and Dyna Girl has from the 70s still feel like it represents that show, but definitely has our own modern spin on it.
You got to tap into the very wide niche of the original Electra Woman and Dyna Girl fans.
Yes. If you guys want a really fun afternoon activity, Google Electra Woman and Dyna Girl, and then it'll probably take you to a YouTube link of the original opening credits for Electra Woman and Dyna Girl. It's worth watching. One of the lyrics of the opening theme song goes, "They both work at a magazine." Yeah, so it's really great. There's a lot of like running through doorways. So hopefully we modernized it.
So what exactly? I mean, obviously you're the lead on the show, one of two leads, co-leads.
Yeah.
But what else are you writing on the show? Did you work on the stories? Because you're so used to sort of generating your own content.
Yeah. Well, we definitely we worked on the scripts a little bit just to make the characters feel like our own and to really feel like women that we relate to in our everyday lives, because their universe is slightly unrelatable for a lot of us, so we really wanted their personalities to be very relatable, the relationship to feel very relatable, the problems that they face in, trying to get success and how that affects their relationship is all very relatable to our own relationships we have every day. So
absolutely, there's a particular scene. I mean, in the first episode that felt very much like it could be someone of a certain amount of YouTube fame going to an agency and trying to achieve some sort of career or get a career, and an agent being like,
"Oh, yeah.
I'm going to make you like this other YouTube person that I made really big."
Yeah, it's very, very directly mapped over anyone trying to make it in entertainment at all, which was really fun to play with for us, based on like the limited experience we've had over the past couple years. So it was great. It was cool.
When did your experience in entertainment start to become larger than just your YouTube channel? If you started there, when did it start to become something where like, okay, now I should pursue this in some fashion?
I went to college in New Jersey and then moved to Brooklyn afterwards to pursue entertainment and comedy in whatever form that meant. I was auditioning for television and films and commercials and making little web videos as a hobby just to try and get creative energy out of my person.
Sort of keep working your muscle, like
and not thinking that it was going to lead to anything. And I eventually got hired by a website to create a web series for them called Daily Grace that allowed me to quit waiting tables, which is what I was doing at the time, and to focus on the auditioning thing that I still thought was going to be the ticket. And it wasn't until actually I met Hannah, who happened to create a viral video through My Drunk Kitchen and take her from her Japanese translator job into this like world of YouTube. And she's someone that's very savvy and very business-minded and adapted very quickly and figured everything out. And I learned so much from her about all of the opportunities for entrepreneurship in the YouTube space. And after being rejected hundreds of times from casting directors, it was like a really great way to focus my energy and to put things out there in the space without anyone telling me that I couldn't.
Did you feel a certain amount of told you so when you achieved a certain amount of fame with YouTube? Or at least viewers and fans?
Well, not necessarily, because none of us really, it was this wild, wild west that none of us really knew what it would be. Still, we have no idea what it's, the potential of the whole space, and everything is constantly changing, and things like this being, made with partners like Legendary and Fullscreen is something that I couldn't imagine happening. So it's, you just never know. So, the hustle's still there to try to constantly create and try and put things out there in different ways. And this is one of those moments of trying to create something bigger than what we normally do online.
It is bigger and it's a little bit longer, but it's not like your standard 22 minutes or 30 minutes like I think Netflix does or HBO does, or 22 like NBC or ABC does. So how did they land in terms of developing this on the time that it's at and sort of the format for it?
It's interesting because, we all have the attention span of, gnats. And so we wanted to create something that it felt like it had full stories, rich storylines, rich relationships, rich characters, but didn't feel like you didn't have enough time to watch it. And so we came up with this really amazing concept where we have 8 11-minute episodes that are available on Fullscreen tomorrow, and then we have a feature-length, uncut, full-length movie format that's coming out on June 7th. Internationally, so
completely different story, or
no,
the other stories sort of put together?
It's the same thing, but it's packaged slightly different, so you can watch it all at once without necessarily having to binge watch. But then the binge watching is available on Fullscreen if you want. So there's so many ways to consume it. It's like a potato.
It's essentially where everybody is right now in the sense we're not sure how you're going to consume it,
right.
So we're going to put it out there in any way that you could consume.
Yeah,
short,
exactly.
Long, however you're going to take it.
Exactly.
Just take it.
Please just take it. Yeah.
So when it came to making superheroes relatable, I mean, are you into superheroes? Are you a comics fan? Are you is it nerd now or geek? What's the word for those that love comics and superheroes?
Well, okay. Hannah loves the genre universe. I watched Inspector Gadget growing up.
Great show.
Yep, very wonderful character
Not
development.
Some great movie, unfortunately.
I didn't watch the movie though, and so I was really concerned about making a piece that would be interesting to people like Hannah that love the world of genre, love creating these universes that characters live within. And I wanted it to be interesting for people that aren't familiar with those sort of archetypes and tropes and universal things that happen in a lot of Marvel series. So I think we kind of accomplished that. I think you can be a fan of genre or not, and you would really like this series.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that 100%. I mean, we saw Kegels in the trailer, and that is not brought up usually in superhero movies.
No, we're really pushing boundaries, really creating a positive female force. Yeah.
Do you think about that, creating a quote unquote positive female force in your work and your art, especially being someone who is kind of an innovator at the forefront of a different medium?
Yeah, I think about creating a positive force in general, not necessarily female. I happen to be female, which is very cool. A lot of questions Hannah and I get about this series relate to were we trying to set out to create strong female superheroes, and that's not the case. We were trying to create strong superheroes, and at the end of the day, they happen to be female. We take huge pride in the costumes that we have because and they're really badass. And
once you refer to it as unforgiving, the most unforgiving spandex possible, or something like that.
Yeah, the original suits that we have in the series, not the best
Or the new ones, that's true.
The new ones are great, and we really wanted to develop a costume or a suit that was practical, first and foremost. That you see a lot of females very overly sexualized in a lot of genre pieces, and so we really wanted to create something that a superhero would actually wear to try and fight someone. Everything is kind of practical and usable, and crop jackets are very trendy.
Crop jackets?
Yeah, look, 2 crop jackets. So it's
Crop
very
jacket, a jacket that like goes up to.
Yeah, you gotta cut that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
A crop blazer?
Yeah, oh my
Crop
God.
crop
You
blaze.
could be, yeah,
I'd
just
be
trailblazer.
So cool. I would be so cool. What do you guys think? Should I wear a crop blaze when I'm hanging out on the
I mean,
Really?
just the term crop blaze is really so great.
One more day on the job with a crop blaze and then I'm gone. So since you and Hannah are sort of coming from different schools of where you want to take these characters, did you guys ever butt heads creatively? I mean, in a positive way, or did you find that her superhero aesthetic or where she wanted to go, the superhero aspect, maybe conflicted every now and then with where you wanted to have these relatable characters?
Actually, no. I think it was a wonderful balance because she was really concerned with creating a universe and creating strong relationships. I mean, that's where we met, is in the middle on, is that we really wanted to create strong, relatable relationships and really tell a story about, friendship, which I think is a huge theme in a lot of the work that we do. And so it was a nice balance of me wanting to make sure there were jokes and that it was funny, and her wanting to make sure that it had enough in it to feel like a superhero series. And I think we accomplished that.
I would agree with that. I think so often sometimes with superhero series that are also funny is that the jokes kind of undermine the superheroes and their superhero abilities. Did you ever struggle with that?
No, because we have no superpowers. So, but I love Avengers because it has these, very high stakes fight sequences that are cool and very, intense, but then it has these really small grounded moments of relationship and, jokes that happen right after it that feel like this little breath that kind of happens. And we wanted to make sure that this had that it had this very high action packed sequences and then these real small moments that human beings just have all day, every day with each other.
I think so recently, I mean, this is such an amazing project to be a part of, and it's definitely expanding, your oeuvre, if you will.
Sure.
But I'm kind of curious, there's been so much talk recently about YouTube stars and Vine stars trying to branch out into quote-unquote sort of traditional mediums like TV or like movies. Do you sort of find the pressure to do that as well, or do you think that people don't yet respect the fact that YouTube itself is a sort of viable, almost traditional medium at this point?
It's interesting. I did a television show, so I feel like, tried that. Didn't,
Work out?
It was fine. It was a solid fine.
What happened?
No, it's great. It's very difficult to take an audience that's so used to consuming things, in the palm of their hand to a television that airs a show that is not at your convenience. YouTube, you can watch a video whenever you want. It's there, or it's going to be there. On TV, you can't necessarily do that as easily.
You sort of grow users or grow views over the course of a week or something on YouTube, and that showcases a certain amount of success, whereas you really need the viewers that night in that moment on TV.
Absolutely, and it's way easier to have a two-way conversation with an audience on a digital platform than on a traditional platform, which I think is the beauty of the digital space, is that it's so intimate that I have direct relationships with the people that watch my videos, and you're able to get such instant feedback and such authentic feedback, whereas on TV, it does feel like you're sort of in this box that you can't get to them necessarily with. But I think the cool thing is that media is really becoming more and more undefined and more experimental, and digital talent is utilizing that and trying different things and expanding, and I think that's what we all should be doing. And anytime that someone thinks that the digital space is a secondary form of entertainment or talent, I just go, that's embarrassing for you to think that way, because it's very old school. Yeah.
Absolutely. You mentioned authentic comments that you get. Are they that authentic? How often are your comments wonderful and authentic, or do you still find that you get
A lot of times they're really, 99% of the time, they're so wonderful and great and real and honest and genuine. And then 1% of the time, and it's happening more frequently now, people say I look like Michael Jackson. Like every video, like 10 people will be like, whoa, dude, she looks like Michael Jackson. And like not even joking.
Wait.
Don't look
No,
at
no,
me.
I'm kidding. I don't see it. Sorry.
Yeah, that's been a fun new like existential crisis to have.
How have you combated that existential crisis outside of, like taking off the white glove and not, dancing like that in front of the
Right.
camera anymore?
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I just think about it late at night. I think, well, he was amazing, so maybe it's a compliment. Yeah, so, the digital space is a great space to learn about yourself. Yeah.
Who is your favorite superhero?
Oh, who is my favorite superhero? That's a great question. I like Thor.
Really?
Yeah.
Because he's,
Chris Hemsworth.
yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
There's not really much to debate about that one.
No, that's just, I like that. He seems great.
He's a big, hunky Australian dude.
Yeah, with like 2 marbles for eyeballs. It's amazing. Yeah, he's very, very attractive human.
Now, you've been collaborating with Hannah for a while. Didn't you? You guys had a movie not that long ago, right?
Yes, we had a movie called Camp Dakota that came out 2 years ago, and then we have another movie with our good friend Mamrie Hart, who's also a content creator, called Dirty 30, that'll be coming out later this year. So yeah, we've worked on a lot of stuff together, and it was really wonderful to work with her on this because this. Camp Dakota was a very sweet film that we're really proud of, but the characters were very similar to ourselves. And this was completely out of our wheelhouse. This was so different. We had to go to stunt training and learn how to throw punches without doing that. And so
Can you throw a mean punch now?
Hannah is actually amazing at throwing punches. I did some kicking. I jogged a little bit.
Whoa, your superhero jogs?
Yeah, she does not sit around. And so it was really wonderful to have a really good friend there because neither one of us had ever done something so large and so out of our comfort zones. And we're nerds to our core in that we really want to do a great job, and we really want people to feel good about the work that they're doing, especially the crew and the other cast members that all give their time, and everyone's putting effort into this. And so we didn't want to let anyone down. So it was nice to just have someone else there to have a real moment with of am I sucking? Am I being bad?
Were you worried about how much you were challenging yourself and sort of breaking out of your comfort zone? Did you ever find yourself on set and just sort of questioning your performance, questioning what you were doing? Not that you should have, from what I've seen. You're great in it. You're
thanks.
very funny.
We had a really amazing acting coach named Deb Podolsky up in Vancouver, and she was so wonderful, and she was very maternal and nurturing for us, and really taught us a lot about the craft of acting, and really gave us this deeper respect for professional actors. I've only taken, a few acting classes in my life, and it was never something that I really thought would be the majority of my career, and so I haven't ever focused much time on it. And so we really, dove in and submerged ourselves in what actors do to prepare for roles and go through scripts and really deeply understand your character. And so that was really wonderful.
What is something that you think people who don't study acting would be extremely surprised to learn is a major part of the craft of acting? Something that really surprised you?
Should be common sense, but obviously things are shot out of order. So even just the idea that if we're shooting a scene where I jump into a car, I have to remember I was just running for 3 blocks right before this, so I don't want to jump into the car and just sit like this. I have to, imagine that I'm out of breath. And so just small moments like that normally would go by us because we're still in our YouTube mindset of thinking about everything. When we make videos, we do it all ourselves. And so to be on set is really an exercise in collaboration for us because all of these professionals are doing all of these jobs that we normally do in our own homes, and so our brains still are scanning and thinking of everything and not focusing on just the minor acting details.
You almost can't help it, like turning that part of your brain off if you've been the
Right.
one in control of something for so long, and now because a lot of acting, a lot of time, as much as there is a craft, is also waiting, is also sitting
yeah.
there waiting while other people set up lights and move stuff around. And if you're used
100%.
to being a person that is doing everything, that
Right.
period of time where you're sitting there waiting, you can either calm yourself down and just wait, or that part of your brain clicks on and you start pissing everybody off by being like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? What's this? How are you doing that?
Yeah, but also we wanted to make sure that we were always ready. Like we never wanted anyone to wait for us because you don't want to be that person. But it was great. Hannah and I developed this this system that if either one of us was ever really, really nervous or anxious about, you know, a scene coming up, we would both kind of look at each other and one of us would just say, we're all gonna die someday. And that really helped and like made it all like less stressful. We had this really intense fight sequence and Hannah was really nervous about shooting it right before, like emotional fight, not actual physical fight. And so, yeah, I just whispered that we're all gonna die someday into her ear and then the scene went really well.
Is that because you sort of let go a little bit?
Yeah, you realize we're all gonna be dust in the ground, so whatever we're worried about in this scene, just give it your best shot. Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's really fun.
I'm going to turn it over to the audience for some questions. Who has a question? You, sir.
Hey. Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for being here. How was it like working with the Croft brothers? And did you have a backup career in case YouTube route didn't work for you?
What was it like working with the Croft brothers, Sid and Marty Croft, who are amazing people? We worked primarily with Marty Croft. He was on set so frequently, which is insane because he's like 90-something years old, and he would just show up in Vancouver on set, and we're like, how did you get here? What are you doing?
It's an amazing question because I'm going to be fully honest. I didn't ask it because I thought they might have been deceased.
No,
Double
yeah.
check.
But they're amazing, and Marty is so quick and so fun, and he became like this hilarious grandfather character. We would get off of set, and our hotel room phones would ring, and it'd just be him being like, you want to go to the best fish restaurant in Vancouver? And you're like, okay, Marty. Like, he knows everything about everywhere in the world. It was really fun. And then the second question was,
Did you have a backup?
oh, did I have a backup? What was my No, I didn't have a backup plan. I think I've always thought, like, you can always wait tables again. You have hands still, so maybe that.
Next question.
Hey Grace,
Hi.
I enjoyed all your YouTube videos. I think
Thank
you're
you.
really funny.
Thank you.
So how do you come up with the content you put up on YouTube? Like, what was your process like?
How do I come up with the content I put on YouTube? It's different all the time. Sometimes I'll get, divine inspiration and think of an idea on my own. A lot of times I reach out to you guys. I ask on Tumblr and Twitter what you guys want to see. And I love that because I came from an improv background where basically you start a show by asking the audience for a suggestion. And so that has really inspired and helped me make videos. And it also, I think, makes the videos more personal because we're creating it together at that point. And it isn't just me saying, here, I did this, watch this. So yeah, it's always different.
Next question.
Regarding you having to fight Hannah, has that gotten easier since Camp Dakota, or is it still really hard to get into that mindset where you have to do that?
Oh, have an emotional fight with each other? Yeah, we had a fight in Camp Dakota, and we have a big fight scene in this sequence. And the funniest part is that Hannah, as Hannah Hart, her natural default whenever things are bad or sad or nerve-wracking, she smiles all the time. So she looks like a serial killer when you're having an actual tough moment with her. And so I would have moments where I could see in her face that her muscles were trying so hard to keep her from smiling at me yelling at her. And so there was an extra layer, but it also helped kind of make it lighter for us, which was really fun. And she's amazing in this whole series. So I think I hope that scene feels really kind of compelling because it's one of those grounded emotional scenes amidst all of this kind of bigger chaos, world chaos that's happening. But it doesn't really get easier. It gets a little dumber. The fun thing was we knew we were gonna have the fight scene, so we like stayed away from each other all day too. And
You went real actors.
Oh, we went very method, I guess. But also, like, we would just see each other at craft services all the time, like sneaking snacks, and we'd try not to look at each other. So it probably made it much more difficult than it actually had to be for us. But, you know, I guess maybe it'll get easier. I don't know. Maybe it's good that it hasn't gotten easier. Yeah.
Well, Grace, I have to let you go. People can start watching this tomorrow?
Tomorrow on full screen, they can download the app and binge watch all of the episodes there. And then on June 7th, the feature-length version will be available for everyone.
And I'm sure you're still putting out stuff on your YouTube channel as well that people can look at?
Yeah, 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. There's stuff on youtube.com/itsgrace.
Grace, thank you so much for being here. It's been
Thank you
lovely
for
talking to you.
having me.
Thank you.
You too. Thanks, guys.